What's up guys, this is Cher talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be talking about the free selectors that we got on the start of 3rd anniversary Eve celebration, and I'll try to help you decide which are the best styles to choose. Well, in the first day we got the selector for the UDX banner, and well, it only includes very old UDX style that has been on recent UDX banners as off pulls. They are not that strong anymore, but there are some good choices that I'll be discussing later. The same happens with the Saga Soul selection. You can only see very old styles here that are actually inside the Tsubaki's banner, but they just did something. They released a new banner that just has plenty of reruns from UDX and also from Saga Soul, but they don't clash. The selection that you can see on this banner, it's not the same. So if you summon here, you will not be able to get any of the cards that you can get from the selector. So there is no clash. You can actually choose right now the character that you want. The same happens with the Saga Soul selection as well. You can see here all the characters, they are not the same as the ones on the selector. And something will happen once this banner ends. I don't know when exactly, but the future Saga Soul banners and UDX banners will have a combined selection of both. So it may take some time, but just so that you can understand, they usually do that every half anniversary or anniversary, adding more styles to be pitchable or summonable in newer banners. Now, we need to choose the best styles. And the first one will be UDX Matriarch. And that's because she has this skill called Shining Glory that deals damage 8 power with only 8 PP cost, but also 2 LP, where she buffs 4 different status and also recovers HP. Well, this is kinda outclassed if you have another version of Matriarch. Okay, here I am on my selection of Matriarch styles. And if you have the 4th Matriarch, she has Pin of Protection. This is a 5 AP skill that heals everyone and applies a shield that will negate 1 hit. So usually you will want to use Pin of Protection instead of Shining Glory, because Shining Glory uses 8. You don't usually have all that much VP. And the negation, it's actually very helpful. You can just recover HP in that same turn, still negate damage, so you're still on full on the next turn. Depends on the situation and how many times the enemy attacks. So if you don't have the 4th one, I suggest you to get the UDX Matriarch right now, because going for the future, this is the only way to heal besides Pin of Protection. Also, this version of Matriarch has double arrows for agility, so it's kinda easy to get more agility by using this one when farming. Now, the next character is Urpina. Why? Because, to be honest, this version of Urpina is still useful as it is. Well, she has this skill called Torrent that is a fast attack with 8 power, then she enters an evasive counter stance. She's not going to take direct attack damage. She is going to counter with Dual Torrent that is also 8 power, but this time full AoE with Slash and Pierce. Every time she attacks, she recovers 1 BP. It's pretty easy to train this skill because it actually deals damage first. You don't need to manually level, and it's still the best AoE counter skill in the game, especially because of other styles that Urpina has access to. So, well, if you don't have any other Urpina style, this is still useful because you can just inherit a skill from a Platinum style that is called a Dual Wielding Stance that recovers 3 VP. That means that in a specific turn you will get 6, and then if you can survive, you can keep using Torrent. Well, if you do have at least one of the premium versions of Urpina, it's even better. Well, you can PT right now this Christmas style from the normal festival banners, and she just gets more BP, so she can use Torrent a little more. Then after this version, she got another masked version from Wrestling. That one also gets more BP, and is also better using Torrent. And after that, we got this other version of Urpina, the second global X, and she gets BP when she attacks, and can even debuff enemies. That means that when she uses Torrent, she will increase the damage and recover so much BP that she can actually use it every turn depending on the number of counters. After this version of Arpina, we got a new one that I don't have that can also work well, much better than just using the UDX. So it's an inheritance bot, but like I said, even if you don't have the premium versions, you can still use it with decreased levels. We also have Crossbreak, one of the best skills in the game for the cost. With only 8, you do double S damage and then chase with the deep power attack. And that translates into a very powerful attack that can be used many times, especially if you have one of the other versions of Arpina that gets PP, so it's the best single target skill from Arpina. So, the second best choice. Now, the next selection depends if you happen to summon for New Year Mirza without having the UDX. So, you can choose this one, because Steel Blade Light is still very helpful and Mirza negates shadow damage. There are instances in the game where this can pay off. We are also pretty close to the next version of Mirza, and in JP he has an attack with 50% chance to heal the party. But this is a guarantee to heal the party. That means that if they don't change in global, you want this skill instead, so think about that as well. Another good idea could be Minstrel. If you don't have time or iToken, he can help you on Remembrance, because he has this skill called Fast Armade that gives morale up and guard up. And if you have his latest style, the one with the hat, and uses swords, you can actually give this skill to him to give guard up to the party. But if you already have time, it just clashes, you don't need that. Besides Minstrel, I do believe that for Inheritance, you can consider UDX Cloud. This one can still do respectable damage by herself, but if you have the Global X style or the newest one from the Minstrel Song banner, she can pass this skill called Reveratory Shot. With 3 hits of C power, she has one of the strongest attacks by the amount of cost. So, very strong for Claudia fans. And then we have this version of Dark that will work well if you got the Global X style of him, because he has a skill with 8 PP that is called Instant Q, that is not Instant Q, and it can use it twice. So for farming, double times of a 4S attack can be helpful. And he can still get Sword Ballet Plus and use it 2 times in a row, can still be used for Instant Q 2 times in a row as well, but for single targets. His status are not that high anymore, but still respectable in a way. Another one that's still kinda useful is this version of Death, because it buffs Intelligence and Will by 15% on the start of turn, so it helps and can even revive. Then what it's interesting is that you can use an AoE attack that can instant kill targets. Well, there are cards that do this better right now, but it just works if you need, and can follow up with a pretty cheap AoE attack as well. So Death, it's probably the last really useful style from the list. After that, all styles are outclassed. You could say that you can get this Gustav if you have the second version, because of dual wielding stance or dual cutting lunge. But that Gustav is not that good anymore, unless you're looking to the future styles. And the first version of Death, it's not that interesting anymore. The third and fourth versions of Death don't need any inheritance coming from this one. Silver Emperor is bad, forget about him. And Galahad does not need anything that he has in his future style, save for delay, but it's not something that you should care about. This Madeline was never really strong for challenges. This Ganryu has bad cyclings, even if you have the newest one, he's just too old. And then Gustave, it has very bad skills that don't really help any of his future styles. Now let's move to the Saga Soul selection. It's much easier because there's only 6 options. Well, the best one is Georg, in my opinion. Why? Because he was the first one to have the Scrum Ward passive that decreases damage received to the party by 20% as long as everyone is alive. He can also heal. So in Remembrance, Georg actually helps. You can use him on any Remembrance battle to reduce damage, since Remembrance in global is pretty hard. Now for the other options, just forget about Kurt, he's inferior to Georg in all levels. But Narcisse has a Platinum style that's not that bad, and many people have difficulty on Remembrance battles with bow users, and you can just give that Platinum Narcisse access to Petra Delta Plus, that applies Petrify, and since it self-buffs intelligence when attacks, that means that you will actually have very high chances to Petrify for special events, because Petrify is not used in any Remembrance battle as far as I know. If you want constant damage, you can get instant dual arrows, but this Narcisse is not used anymore as it is. It's more as an inheritance bot. Then we have this Therese. There is Summer Therese, that is actually a single target or role specialist, where you can get Heartseeker for Charm, just for Remembrance, or Barrage Shot for an AoE attack, but she's not even aimed for AoE, so I don't think this Therese is good. Mech, if you summon in a robot's banner, does give some inheritance options, but they are not that strong. This is not how we farm anymore, so I don't think that going for mech will help. After that, there is Avi, that will get a future style, but the future style doesn't really need any of these skills. It works by itself. And just forget about Kurt. He is a worse Georg in every way. So there we go. I believe Georg is the best, and then Narcisse. The other ones are more about preference, they won't matter in the long run. Well, I guess that's it. What do you think about this? Did you choose yours already? Say here in the comment sections. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you want to support the channel, we have links on the description. I hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream. Bye.